Hello everyone, welcome to Motoscram. So today I want to talk about this bike right here. It's a KTM 690 Enduro. It's a 2012 model, which I've had for a few years. Now, the thing is that at a certain point of time, I decided to part with it. I decided to sell it, and that's okay, happens all the time. The thing is that 7 months later, after selling this bike, I decided to buy it back again. Crazy, right? Stick around, guys, and let me tell you why I sold my KTM 690 and bought it back again. Okay guys, so here she is. I picked up this 2012 690 2-3 years back, and when I bought it, it originally came with a few modifications. So you know, it had the aftermarket exhaust and a Krapovic, which is really nice. And I think on this bike, you know, the sound is just beautiful, that single cylinder. What I did was I just made it a little bit more comfortable, a little bit easier to control. So in terms of the comfort, what I did was I changed the seat. So I got a gel seat from KTM. It's an original accessory. But the main thing was lowering the height of the bike, because the bike is quite tall, and you know, you can see that it's that gold color link that drops the rear of the bike by about an inch, and then obviously you have to drop the forks about half that much, I think, and it became manageable, especially when you're off-roading. You know, when you need to be able to like touch the ground, or when you're going over rocks or whatever, it really makes a big difference if you have that additional leverage. Now on road, it's not a big deal. I mean, yeah, you can ride it, but don't be intimidated if you're a short rider like me. Don't be intimidated with the height of this thing. It's very manageable. But for me, I thought, yeah, give myself a little bit of room, a little bit of help, and yeah, I mean, it was perfect. What I also did was I added some bar raisers. You can see them here, and that gives a little bit of leverage when it comes to controlling the bike. So simple mods, really, nothing crazy. I have an auxiliary power socket there, and of course the decal. The decal, really, I wanted something to cover some old scratches, and it did look better online, guys, but you know what, I kind of like it now. It's grown on me. I think it's kind of unique, but yeah, there's plenty of options out there if you're looking for, you know, something to quickly change the look of your bike. So okay guys, so what made me buy the 690 in the first place? Well, I just sold my F800 GS because I decided that I wanted something smaller, something lighter, something more basic. What I was focusing on was the off-roading ability of the bike, and when I did a search to look if, you know, for the right direction, every single search I did pointed me in the direction of the 690 Enduro. And to be honest, I felt a little bit intimidated because I had never you know, considered KTM as an option. Not because obviously there's anything wrong with KTMs, they're fantastic bikes, but it's just that I was never I never had that affinity to the brand, so I never really considered it. But anyway, so I decided to check it out, and I started kind of screening the classifieds and looking for second-hand bikes. Obviously, I didn't want to go for a brand new one for multiple reasons, but mainly because I wasn't really sure that I was going to like it. and therefore I didn't want to commit to buying a brand new bike. So when finally a listing popped up for a 690 Enduro, I called up the guy, had a chat with him, and the only thing that I asked was if he was willing to let me test ride it, and he was generous enough to accept, and that was that. I went there, and although I didn't really like the looks of it that much, you know, you look at it, it's not a dirt bike, it's not a big bike, it kind of looks something in between. But anyway, I took it for a test drive and I was blown away. It was very responsive, very engaging to ride, and the real moment of truth was when I saw a dirt patch close by, and I decided to try it out, and that thing just, I was so amazed how easy it takes to sand, how easy it is to maneuver, and correct any mistakes that you might make. So if you say you choose the wrong line, no problem. If you need to hit an obstacle or go over an obstacle, no problem. Now, again, I'm coming off from the previous experience of a bigger dual sport bike, and with those bikes you constantly have to plan ahead. So you look ahead and try and pick the best approach so that you don't have to correct, because correcting is a little bit difficult. So you try and avoid that. With this bike, it's so confidence inspiring and so easy to handle that it just makes the whole experience much better and more fun. And that was it. Okay, but you know, as much as I like the KTM 690, you know, the bike has some serious limitations. It has some things that it doesn't do well. Long distance, for example, forget about it. It's not comfortable. There's no wind protection really, so you're buffeting all the time. You're sitting up front, really close to the handlebars, you know, dirt bike style. The range is pathetic, and it's raw. There's no creature comforts. There's nothing there. It's just a very basic bike. But you know what? That's exactly why I fell in love with it, because the way this bike is designed, it's designed to transport you to that exact location where your off-roading starts, and that's where it shines, and that's where it comes to life. The moment you hit that dirt road, man, this thing is just something else. It's a big dirt bike, very capable, very good suspension, very good frame. Everything works perfectly, and because of that, if you are more skewed towards the off-road part of the journey, then this is the bike to go with. Okay, so if I liked it so much, why did I sell it? Well, to be honest, I sold it because I thought that I wanted the 2020 version of the KTM 690 Enduro R. And you know, the new bike comes with a lot of improvements. There's a lot of add-ons that have been introduced over the years compared to the version that I have, and I thought, yeah, why not? So it wasn't because I didn't like the bike, or because I had enough of it, or anything like that. It was simply because I wanted to upgrade. Now, my plan didn't go as I had envisaged. What happened was that shortly after selling the bike, we were kind of hit by the pandemic. And obviously, you know, the lockdowns and the partial lockdowns and all the restrictions of movement and all of that came into play, and I kind of parked the idea and you know, thought, just forget it for now. But when things started to improve, started looking at costs, and it just didn't add up. So I thought, okay, let me check if the bike, is available. I'll call the guy who bought it from me, and he's a good friend. I'll call him up and see if he's interested in selling, and I did, and he didn't mind, and then we started talking about it, and finally he agreed. Thank you, Kurt, and that was that. I bought it back, and I'm quite happy now, actually. But most importantly, I realized that the 690 sits in a category of its own, and that there is nothing like it at the moment on the market. Sure, it's labeled as a dual sport, but in my books, dual sports are road bikes with off-road capabilities. The 690, on the other hand, is essentially a dirt bike with on-road capabilities. Now, that's not to say that the behavior of the 690 on tarmac is awful. No, it isn't, but it's not the greatest. And if you want to own this bike, you need to be prepared to make that concession, because the rewards of hitting that off-road section of your trip are immense. That thing will put you on a totally different level. Now, having said that, this bike is very much an acquired taste. It's not for everyone. Some people hate it, some people love it. But what I would say, if you're interested in buying this bike or in owning this bike, then take it for a test ride or borrow one at least. Get a feel for what the bike is all about, because it's different. Alright guys, so there we are, my reasons for buying the 690, selling it, and then buying it again. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you've enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, as that will help me push out more content. Until we meet again, be safe and ride as much as you can.